G'day trendsetters, John with Gravel Cyclist. I'm coming to you today with a wheelset review, namely the Spinergy GXC carbon fiber wheelset, a wheelset designed specifically for the rigours of gravel cycling. If the name Spinergy sounds familiar to you, that's because Spinergy was made famous by the Rev-X wheelset. Now, time and technology has changed a lot since the early 1990s, so let's talk about the current and not the past. Cracking open the box, we've got a pair of owner's manuals, including a driver and spoke key. We've also got a pair of 15mm end caps, and the wheels themselves, the Spinergy GXC wheelset, featuring Spinergy's patented PBO spoke technology. The full nomenclature of the PBO spoke is difficult to pronounce, so I'll overlay it in this scene, but Spinergy claim the PBO spokes weigh half of what a steel spoke does and are 3 times as strong, as well as providing a certain measure of comfort, which is very handy on gravelly roads. Onto the tech specs, there are 24 spokes front and rear with Spinergy's own hubs. The hubs utilise straight pull spokes. The spokes are laced in a mix of 2 cross on the drive side on the rear wheel and radial on the non-drive side. On the front wheel, the spokes are laced radially on the disc side and 2 cross on the non-disc side, and you might have noticed the rotor interface is the venerable 6 bolt. To be expected, the hubs are available with 12mm through axle, 15mm through axle, or the traditional 9mm quick release. And the rear you can get with a traditional quick release or a 12mm by 142mm through axle, and the cassette body supported are Shimano and SRAM 10 and 11 speed and SRAM XD, and I understand that Spinergy is working on the SRAM XDR driver, which will support SRAM's latest 12-speed E-tap road group sets. The rims are a full carbon construction, and they are 32mm in depth, 18mm internally, and 24mm externally, and they are tubeless compatible. The claimed weight of these wheels is 1,510 grams, and that assumes a bare wheel, so no rim tape, but regardless, we'll throw these onto the scale and see what they weigh. Onto the trusty Gravel Cyclist scale we go. The rear wheel weighs in at 811.5 grams. Okay, we'll round up to 812. And the front wheel weighs in at 677 grams. So that makes for a total of 1,489 grams. So that is under Spinergy's spec weight on the wheel set. You have to love that. Next, I'll install some valves, tyres and sealant and see how easily tyres mount up onto the Spinergy GXC wheel set. And here we go, the Spinergy wheels with tyres mounted and valves installed. The tyres of choice for today are the Bontrager GR2 Team Issue, which I am reviewing separately on the gravelcyclist.com website, but you can think of this as a twofer, a 2-for-1 review almost. Handling the inflation duties today is the Bontrager TLR flash charger pump, which is an item I have reviewed previously on the Gravel Cyclist YouTube channel. I have taken the liberty of removing the valve core, and it would be kind of funny if this Bontrager pump could not inflate this Bontrager tyre. Well, it wouldn't be that funny at all, actually. It'd be quite annoying. Anyway, I've got the secondary cylinder inflated to 120 psi. Let's get this around the right way. Install the chuck. Time to flick the lever. That, my friends, is the sound of success. This tyre just mounted perfectly, and I mounted it dry sans sealant. So in a moment, I'll Release the air pressure, install some sealant and reinflate, and then repeat the process with the front wheel. Typically, I'm a very loyal sealant person. My favourite brand is Orange Seal Endurance Formula, but Bontrager supplied their TLR tyre sealants with the tyres I mentioned earlier. So for this experiment and this review, I'm going to install this sealant. And once again, I've got my TLR flash charger pump inflated to 120 psi for the cylinder. Snap on the chuck, pull the trigger. Right now it's holding almost 40 psi. I'm going to give it a few more pumps. And then I'll shake and bake it to make sure it is sealed. It's got about 45 psi right now. Here we go, shake and bake time. Basically, I'm shaking sealant around, rotating the wheel and tyre to ensure that sealant is completely coated inside. And if you didn't catch it a couple of weeks ago, I produced a video where I swapped out tyres on a pair of tubeless wheels, but I reconstituted as much of the sealant as I possibly could. And I'll link that in the video description below because I do like to reuse sealant if I possibly can. It still works great, at least in my experience. And the final piece of sealing, I just roll the tyre along on the ground. I reckon that's good to go, so I'll just have to repeat the process. And there you are, tyres mounted, rotors mounted. All that's left to do is to mount a cassette and mount them onto a bike and start riding. I first need to mention the review sample is a very understated wheel set, but you can customize spoke and decal colors at the time of order on the Spinergy website. The main feature of these wheels is the PBO spokes that claim to assist with vibration damping. I have no way to test these claims, but the spokes do seem to negate some of the gravelly road buzz. Placebo is a thing, so if you feel better for riding a wheel set such as this, then you're already ahead in the mental game. For anybody who's seen my previous review videos, you'll know that I'm not a powerhouse rider, so there were no problems with perceived flex in the wheels or issues with the wheels staying true. I don't know how many poles are inside the hub or what sort of drive mechanism Spinergy is using, but the wheels responded quickly to my accelerations. Spinergy has been using PBO spokes in its wheels for many years, so I don't believe there are issues with reliability or longevity. The spokes are claimed to be stronger than steel, but they are thicker and therefore could be a perceived aerodynamic trade-off. But when you consider how much air is being disturbed by the average 35+ mm wide tyre, I think this point is moot. Concerns I have are truing the wheels. The tool is supplied, but they use a non-standard type nipple. If you break one of those spokes, they aren't exactly hanging around at your local bike shop, so I suggest you order some spares if you buy these wheels. The inside rim depth is considered narrow by 2019 standards, but as you can see from the caliper measurement, the Bontrager tyres measure 40 mm as advertised. The final concern is the lack of support for centre-lock rotors. It's not a deal killer, but most wheel sets are supporting this standard nowadays, and it makes for super easy rotor swaps. Those issues aside, this is a solid wheel set, and weighing less than 1500 grams, the GXC doesn't hang about getting up to speed and staying there. They are competitively priced and perhaps in my mind offer damping qualities which helps with your overall comfort on the gravelly road less travelled. These wheels won't be for everybody, but with a 2-year warranty, a smooth ride, a ton of customizing options, and potential long-term reliability, the Spinergy GXC is definitely worthy of your consideration. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Gravel Cyclist YouTube channel, and don't forget to click the bell button to be notified of future videos as they appear on the channel. I'll see you in the next video.